Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. So glad that you're joining us. We have, the three of us here. Dr. Jim Burns. Hey, Jim.
Hey, good to be with you. And I hear we have the legend.
We have the legend, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, is in the house.
Hello.
And we're taking phone calls, and we're going to be here for a couple hours. 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call if you want us to weigh in on something you've been wondering about, want to make a statement about anything, or you've got something that you just need to get off your chest. We are right here. Now, Jim has written this book, Doing Life with Our Adult Children, and on April the 1st, we're going to be doing an online workshop intensive with him on adult children, where you'll hear him speak, and I think Jill is going to speak. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to speak.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about this adult children thing that we've got going, which is difficult to do. And this is all about, it's in our Courageous Parent series, it's all about adjusting to these adult kids, adapting and making changes. Now let me ask you this. What do you think is really important in building a healthy or rebuilding healthy relationship with adult kids? Or what do you think's a big roadblock to that? Start with you, Jim, and then you, Jacqui.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems, you said rebuilding. I think we have to reinvent the relationship. Our children have never been adults, so they don't know what they're doing. We've never been parents of adults, so we don't know what we're doing. So, it's kind of that crisis that takes place. And I would say one of the biggest problems, Stephen, I think there's tons, but I would say that we have to decide as a parent of an adult, are we going to help them, or are we going to enable dependency on them? I don't think there's a parent around that we're saying, hey, I'm enabling dependency. They're not doing that on purpose. But I think that takes place because we begin to enable dependency, and then that becomes entitled, and then they have a failure to launch, and the list goes on. So I think that's one of the issues.
Jacqui, what do you?
Yeah.
And Jacqui, what are you thinking?
I agree. My husband says something along those lines, Jim. He says, as our girls grew and changed, he had to keep remaking himself as a dad in order to meet them where they are, because while they are parts of us, they are also their own people. Mm-hmm. And having a relationship with them wasn't ours shaping them to be who we wanted them to be and always respond how we wanted them to respond, but making a safe space for them to grow and evolve into who they could become. But then we needed to make some adaptations as well.
Right.
No, exactly. And we have to, in doing that, sometimes we have to keep our mouth shut. I always say unsolicited advice is taken as criticism. And that with us, I was always giving them advice when they were younger, and they took it.
Yes.
And they got to be adults, and they went, well, not now, Dad, or okay, I'll consider that. And I went, what the world?
Yes.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think might be an issue? Well, I was just thinking about that. Okay, so here's something. Our job, train them in the right way, raise them in the right way in the beginning. Often, in the middle, they turn away from that. They experiment. They get rebellious. Then, they often come back to what we taught. Bible says that. If we're still dwelling on how we felt when they rebelled and what they did to the family and the image and all that, when they're wanting to come back and be part of us as adults, we're still thinking about the things they did when they were younger. Disaster. And a lot of times, we're just doing what feels good to us. Get it off my chest. Go get it off your chest with somebody else's chest, not the kids. We're going to talk about all of that April the 1st. It is Courageous Parenting, transforming relationships with your adult sons and daughters. Right now, if you have a question or comment about anything, 1-800-229-3000. Thanks for joining us. We sure love being here with you. Maybe you know somebody that would benefit from this program. Maybe it's your spouse, your child. Let them know where we are and what we're doing.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, March 3rd through the 5th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and I hope and pray that if you're struggling with anything, that you'll let us help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you call here right now, 1-800-229-3000. Some of you feel led to support the ministry, and when you do that, we send you this wonderful 100-day devotional called 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. No reason to have shame. You're either carrying somebody else's shame because they did something to you and they're the ones that ought to be dealing with shame, or you've done something in the past, never accepted Christ's full forgiveness for that, or you're involved with something that's kind of shameful. With any way you go, you can be free of that shame, and it's our gift to you, 100 Days to Freedom from Shame. Let's go to the phones, and let's how about we talk with Mark from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Got a great old friend, Jim Burns here. Great new friend, Jacqui Mack. So, and here you are. So can't be
Good.
Much better than that.
I'm in my car, so and the radio's on, so if there's feedback, let me know. But my question is this. I don't know what else to do to try to heal the relationship between my 20-year-old son and his mother. She's my ex-wife. We have a very good relationship, as good as can be. But she had just called me about this, and it happens every so often. And I'm at the point now telling her, this is something between you and him. There's nothing I can do to repair it. I've told her to seek out counseling, because there's a counselor out there that has dealt with this dozens of times. And the little backstory is, my wife, her upbringing was very abusive. She had an alcoholic father who beat her mother, and she feels like she missed out on her childhood. And she, throughout our marriage, would seek out the affection and the approval of anybody but her immediate loved ones, like myself. In our marriage, she had, at least that I know documented, 6 affairs. So she's out there trying to validate something in her life. And I think that my son is just wise to the fact that she was not there for so many things in his life. She claimed she was there, and she was. I mean, she did birthday parties, and she went to a ball game, but there were times when she wasn't, and he knew it, and he knew somehow that she was putting herself before us. And I think that's what's festered in him. He is a loving son. He'll give you the shirt off his back. But when he's angry with his mother, it's not a typical anger. I've heard him use the F-bomb, and I've told him, you can't talk about your mother like that. You only get one mother.
Okay.
So my question is, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with you, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, on a really tough situation. And, man, it's got to be hard to even say things that are nurturing about this when you see that a really horrible thing has happened here. So, Jacqui Mack, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking, Mark, just grateful for your call and your relationship with both your ex-wife and your son, that you sound like a safe place for both of them. In terms of your son, I just would continue to hold space for him to have a safe place to go with his frustration and anger that doesn't continue to trigger him as he is processing it. And I believe that the only thing you really could do would be to invite them to go to therapy, to make that suggestion. And then on the other side, that's where I land where prayer is helpful, because when something's out of my hands with other people and I'm still caring and concerned about it, I'm going to pray for them and pray about the situation for wisdom and guidance, and for God to show me what's the next thing to say, or should I say nothing and just be here, because every encounter is going to have a different context. And so I would use the encounters that I have with my son to make sure that he knows that I see him and that he has a right to his feelings, but also to see if he wants to talk about maybe mending the relationship with his mom and what he needs in that.
Jim, what are you thinking?
I appreciate it.
Mark, I think you're in the messy middle. And the messy middle means that, they both probably want a better relationship and they're looking to you for leadership. And, there are times when you can do that. But at the same time, you're not the one to fix this. This has been going on for a long, long time. You're the one to come alongside, both of them, and encourage them. And if they don't do what you're suggesting, then that's not your responsibility. I don't think you can push them. I'm thinking about your 20-year-old. Sounds like a great guy, and probably has some really strong reasons why he has the issues with his mom. So I'd focus on him and try to have him be able to work through those, so that he will then, once he gets married and once he has children and whatnot, he'll be hopefully more like you than he is like your mom, like his mom, and it sounds like he is. But with your ex, I think all you can do is give her, the wisdom and the kindness. Don't make it a one-topic relationship with just about your son. But the point being is, I think you can help. We used to say, even for people who are counselors, they're disciplers, and maybe there's somebody who could come alongside your son, not you. You might be too personal on it. You can come alongside him in one way, your dad. But maybe there is a therapist who could almost, or a pastor, who could almost disciple him into, working through those feelings. The 20s are the time of what we call emerging adulthood. So he's still trying to figure out. He's in between a teen and an adult just right now at 20. So this is the time for him to, get some of the tools and the responsibilities to be more effective with his mom, and maybe he'll be the one that actually in the long run, helps and mends the relationship.
So, Mark, if I was your therapist and you said this to me, I would say, "Oh, wow, that must really be difficult." If I was your coach, I'd say this: "Mark, tell your son that you want to help him do something that every person needs to do. You have to get over your mother. Every person they have a job to get over their mother. And a lot of times guys like me do stuff, and in this case, your mother's done a lot of stuff, and you have to get over that. You have to learn to grieve all the stuff you're angry about. Let it go. You have to accept her for who she is and forgive her and embrace that reality. That's your job as a young man. If you don't, guess what you're going to do? Your relationship with her is going to impact your relationship with every other woman you ever meet. And it's going to get worse. And you're going to have real estate up in your head that's consumed, covered by, and planted by your mother. If you don't like what she did and how she treated you, seems like to me you would want to be free of any of that, not let it infect anything you do going forward. So here's what I'm going to suggest that you do, son. I'm going to suggest that you get into some counseling and you do whatever it takes to get over the mother. And yeah, you need to get over me too, but it seems like to me this is really holding you up. And I don't want you to be 25, 30, or 35 and be plagued by things that began years and years ago from your mom. It is in your best interest to resolve this issue with her, even though you might think she doesn't deserve it or anything like that. Doesn't matter. You deserve to be free, and the only way you're going to do it is do some work to let her go. That's what I'd say if I was your coach.
That's good.
So what do you think?
Excellent advice, I think it's excellent because as brokenhearted as I am about their relationship, because I've seen that with one of my siblings and my mother, and it lasted until the day he died. As brokenhearted as I am with that, I love my son enough to know I don't want him to carry this and affect, like you said, every aspect of his life, because he's got this wonderful life ahead of him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just don't want it to affect the lens he looks through with everybody.
Right. And so you could say, hey, New Life's doing this emotional freedom workshop. We could go together. That would help you with this. There are books on forgiveness. You could have a copy. I could have a copy. We could read it together. I will do everything I can to help you resolve this, versus agree with you of how horrible it must be. I do agree with that, but you need more than just me being empathetic to the way that you feel. I saw what she did. It wasn't pretty. Now let's get over it, get beyond it. Okay?
And I apologize. I apologize. I know time is short. I should have mentioned that I don't think he knew anything of her infidelity until last Thanksgiving. She was dating a man who was one of the people she was cheating with, who exposed him to all of this.
Okay. So everything I said still. When they broke up, what?
Still stands.
Okay.
Yeah,
everything still stands.
This man was so angry he shared all that with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, it's not unfortunate. It's fortunate. Deal with it. It's reality, and be free. Let me send you Take Your Life Back. I hope that will help. And I also think this new book, Every Believer's Thought Life, and you get the Trinity here, and that is, I'll also send you Doing Life with Our Adult Children. And I would hope that you could enjoy that workshop with us on April the 1st. Be great to have you there. 1-800-229-3000. Before we move on, anything else you guys want to add to that difficult situation?
I was thinking of a scripture that really relates to this. Jesus said, Matthew, I think it's 19:4-6, he said, "A man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh." Now, again, he wasn't speaking specifically just about leaving, but the thing that we have to understand with our 20-year-olds, they're not married yet, but they're going to, by far, 90+% of people get married. And so it's that leaving, and that's a healthy thing. We sometimes look at leaving as not a healthy thing. What I heard both you and Jacqui say was really, in some ways, summarizing that scripture, that it's time to leave the childhood that he had, and because he needs to get ready for that time when he becomes that adult and probably in the marriage. And I love that scripture. I just think that's a scripture. We don't talk much about the leaving part.
Yeah.
But we
it
do.
really is good.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says, I don't like the way my mom raised me, then I want to say, well, then why are you letting her continue to raise you at age 47?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. All right. You see, I'm saying we have to get over mom because a lot of times things get attached to her that were not her fault. Now, in this case, she obviously has some problems here. But, we've talked to people, he's living with someone 80 years younger than him, and they're angry at mom.
Right.
Well, and the thought that came up for me was the last thing Mark shared. His son has just recently learned about why maybe she wasn't around during all those times. And so this is new for him and coming at a really pivotal time for him. And so encouraging him to be in therapy for himself. Maybe he's not ready to do family therapy with mom, but certainly encourage him to get a counselor for himself.
Yeah. And Mark had more time because he knew this was, but this is new.
This is
fresh.
new.
And Martin Luther once said, "I can't do anything about the birds flying over my head, but they don't have to roost on my head." And in some ways, he can't do anything about the birds that have been flying over his head, but he cannot, he needs to make that step so it's not going to just land on his head and it's going to affect every aspect of his life.
Yeah, because we get stuck because we don't move through the pain.
Yeah,
we just want to stop it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to cut off. I'm not going to engage it. But it will still be there when he gets married in 10 years.
You know what else I think Martin Luther said? if I don't get this thing stuck up on the Wittenberg door here, nobody's ever going to change anything. I think that's what he said. Anyway, all right, 1-800-229-3000, 1-800-229-3000, and let's go to Heidi, Columbia, California, and there's the music. Heidi, I lost track. You hold on. We'll get to your call right after this. You know, you can just continue to try hard. You can continue to stay isolated. You can continue in the sickness of the secret that's controlling everything. Or you could give yourself a break and say, I am a person that God loves, has forgiven. He wants to restore me. I need to take a step in that direction. Here's the easiest step that I know, even though it feels impossible at times. Pick up the phone, call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Somebody is there that really cares about whatever you're struggling with. We want to help you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll be back.
New Life Ministries saved my completely broken marriage.
This is Steve Arterburn. Do you feel like your marriage is broken? New Life can help. Our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy. Now, the next Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is February the 17th to the 19th in Orange County, California. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more, or go to newlife.com. Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
3.5 years later, we're still going strong, and I would encourage really anybody who's struggling in their marriage to go to a New Life workshop. They are more effective than anything else we tried.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here. And by the way, many of you love a great value. Here's a great one. You can't lose a cent. You call us at 1-800-229-3000. We pay for that phone call. You don't have to pay for the advice you get. Zero. So even if you get 5 cents worth of advice, you didn't have to pay for it. Great value. So we're really going to 50% return on your investment of zero, and hopefully we'll exceed that. My point is, call us right now, 1-800-229-3000. The moment that you have to stay on hold is a moment that you're investing in your future. I just made that up, and I doubt you're ever going to see that quoted anywhere else, but that's how I feel. It's worth it because you don't pay anything but attention. Here we go back to Heidi, Columbia, California. She listens to us on her podcast provider. Anybody else can. Hi, how are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for taking my call. And yes, you guys are a great value. I've been a member for over 20 years.
Really? Of Club New Life?
And Steve, I don't know if you remember, I went on one of the first cruises when
Really?
you were there.
Where did we go?
And
where did we go?
well, I was trying to remember where we went. I don't know, to some little islands.
Some
the
little.
thing that I remember was this. Yeah, I had just gotten divorced, and I just remember the support, the love, the encouragement. It was, and the people. It was just a good group.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
that's when I started to be a member right there. And I have gotten a host of guidance and enrichment from you all. And I have your wife's book that I'm reading, that's going through the Bible in a year.
Yes.
And it is wonderful. And I started January 1st, and I'm doing it. And I'm so happy, and I'm happy that she wrote that.
Well, thank you for that. I'll pass that on to her. I'll tell you, if you read the opener for February as a woman, I think that has something to say to you if you'll read it very slowly. It's all about blood, and it's pretty powerful. We have 1 year Bible for men and 1 year Bible for women. Her product is far superior. Mine is adequate, but man, does she have some powerful stuff to say. Well, Heidi, how could I help you here?
Yeah.
Thank you. How can we help you here?
Okay. Question came up that was just crazy because it's years ago. Okay. I was divorced 23 years ago. I have grandkids, and then I was married. Then I got married for 20 happily years. I wanted to tell you that, and he just passed away this last year. But the question is, my granddaughter, who's 10 years old, asked me why did I get divorced from the first grandpa, who's married in her life and married to somebody else. And she's only known me with my former husband, and he died. But it was interesting. She asked me, and I was just kind of shocked. And I was 10. I didn't know quite what to say, and I said, "Well, he broke the marriage." And she said, "Well, what does that mean?" And I didn't know. He'd been unfaithful many, many, many times, and I'd worked with him for 25 years. And then I got better, not bitter, and said, "I'm worth more." And I called her mother. Her mother said, who was my daughter-in-law, said, "Oh, just tell her you fell out of love." And I really felt angry. I thought, that's not right, and that's not the truth. And then she didn't ask me anymore, and I kind of let it go. So now I'm thinking I need to address that again properly. Two questions. I don't know what to tell her, but do I have to call, or should I talk to my son, who's her dad, and ask him what does he think I should say to her?
Well, I'm going to turn this over to Jacqui and then Jim, but I think since her mother told you what she wants you to say, you really need to talk with her first about what you're going to say, especially if it doesn't agree with the mother, which it doesn't. But I think that's your really important conversation here, because you don't want saying things she doesn't want you to say, and then she says, "Well, then I can't let you be with her anymore."
Ooh, yeah. Well,
Okay.
And the dad is my son.
Yeah. So,
I agree with you, Steve.
Jacqui Mack, what do you think?
I agree. I agree also, Heidi, that I wouldn't want to be dishonest. And so I would maybe when you figured out how you want to talk about it, maybe have another conversation with the mom, because she is maybe thinking she's doing the very best for her, but it's not true. And then it leaves kids with like a dissonance inside. It doesn't align with what their body is feeling and telling them. And sometimes we tell kids things are okay when they're not. And then they grow up to be adults who are tolerating the intolerable because they've been told that they should. So I agree with not being dishonest to her. But I'm curious about the relationship with your ex-husband. He's remarried because he's a part of this conversation too. So she's asking about what happened between the two of you. Have the two of you had a conversation about how you share that information with the rest of the family?
No, I don't. I barely talk to him. And I kind of, he was toxic for me. I just wanted to stay away.
Okay.
I didn't have a relationship, but it's a new one now. I've recently said, well, I even invited him over here for a birthday party. Since my husband passed away, and I had not wanted to be around him, but then I was realizing I wasn't getting invited to birthday parties and stuff for the grandkids. So I said, I'm going to change this. I'm willing to be around him, and let me have the choice whether I want to come or not. So he's becoming more, I haven't talked to him a lot, but he's in the same room now.
Well, we're coming up, look, I can hear the music. So I'm going to, Steve, give it back to you.
Yeah, well, we'll take a break. We'll come back and give you, Jim will weigh in on this. You're listening to New Life Live. 1 hour and a half. We're going to be here. We'd love to take your calls. 1-800-229-3000. If you don't like what we say, we will refund your misery. Guaranteed. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Jackie, anything else you want to say before we get some insight here from Jim?
Well, Heidi, I was hearing that you have started to reconcile or repair the relationship in some way so that you all can continue to be a family unit because it's a blended family now. And I think that maybe in the spirit of that repair, having a family conversation with the adults in the family, if you're and including the mom and the son, and so that you guys can just talk about how you feel about not being honest, but also that you don't want to throw grandpa under the bus. But we need to be honest to our children as much as possible because they're taking information into their bodies too. They know something's off. They're curious. And then we're teaching them, be honest. But if we're not being honest with them, they're going to know that. They're going to feel that. And then that's going to impact their trust in the relationships. So I would have a conversation with my son, but also with my daughter-in-law there present. And then after that, I would see if I could talk with my ex-husband. Hey, this question was asked. Just heads up, she might ask you, how do we want to talk about this with our grandchildren? I have adult children, and my children, as they were growing up, they asked my parents things that I was shocked and surprised by, and have had conversations with them that I never would have had. And now I have grandchildren who are asking great-grandparents questions I never would have asked, but this is the information age, and these kids are used to getting information just by asking Google or Siri, and so they will have a lot more questions than we probably did.
Excellent. Jim, what are you thinking?
What's the
Go ahead. Ask the question, Heidi.
Well, before I talk with them in my own heart, I need to know what's the appropriate answer that I would answer why we got divorced. It was because he was unfaithful and continued. That's what happened, and how do you put that in the right words? I kind of need to be prepared before I talk to them because they all are very strong personalities, and I think they'll roll over me unless I know how to answer that. So that's my question.
Okay.
Heidi,
second one.
Heidi, I think, by the way, your 10-year-old granddaughter sounds wonderful, and she just gave you a beautiful question. It was innocent. She loves you. She loves her grandpa, and she's 10. And I think we have to answer questions in what's age appropriate. I might have done it differently. I might have said, honey, yeah, Grandpa and I, we did get a divorce, and there are some issues. And, you're at 10, all I can say is, it didn't work for us. However, and then now I call this the marker. However, at another time period, when you're older, we'll talk about it in more detail if you'd like, but I kind of want to wait on that. I say that tonight I'm going to speak on teaching your children healthy sexuality. Somebody's going to ask me this question. They're going to say, what do we tell our 10-year-old about us? Because we, were married. I mean, we were having sex before marriage or whatever. Parents ask that question all the time. And I'm going to say, you know what? You know what, honey? I'm so passionate for you to make good decisions, and that's why I didn't make all these good decisions. So what you're saying is you're not giving all the details. I wouldn't go through the details, because to say he broke the marriage, he did break the marriage vow, totally. But I don't know that 10 is the time to give that, because she doesn't understand that. And now you're going to just get everybody all flustered. So in co-parenting, sometimes in step parenting, you end up having to kind of keep your mouth shut a little bit about the ex or whatever, right? Because you want the kids to honor each, and whatever you talk to somebody else. I think it's the same with co-grandparenting. We don't talk enough about co-grandparenting, but you're a co-grandparent with this man who actually was unfaithful to you. So your anger, I would put it someplace else. Not that you did this. I mean, you probably handled it great. You sound like such a nice person. But she's 10. Marker-wise, she doesn't understand that concept, and I don't know you lay that one on her as much as just simply saying, it didn't work. It's not going to hurt you. I mean, you need to talk to somebody about what your ex-husband did to you. I mean, I get that. I don't think it's her.
Okay.
And that's not dishonest.
No,
it didn't work. We didn't work out.
Right. And then, but it's always the marker. Yeah. When you get to be this age, at 10, even cognitive thinking doesn't work as well. It's beginning. Mm-hmm. She's just beginning. She's not even a teenager yet. She's close. So when that happens, I think you delay some of the details. And she'll ask again. A 10-year-old might.
He broke it, and she asked me, "What does that mean?" Yeah. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Well, right, and I think here you're going to get some consultation from your adult children, and I'll send you Jim's book so you'll have that, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. But here's the thing: you say, I think I went too far in saying he broke the marriage. Now I need to give her a response that is appropriate at age 10. And I want you to help me with that, because I don't want to lie, and I don't want to just leave this hanging. And see what they have to say, and then come up with the truth in a way that's appropriate for the 10-year-old. They may or may not think that you say to her, what I meant was, we made some promises to each other, and he didn't keep his promises, and it just didn't work out. Maybe that's a way to move on. And she asks you, what were the promises? And then you say, like Jim said, well, let's just go over all those when you're just a little bit older.
Yeah.
Something like that. All right. I'm so glad you called. I hope you'll join us for our parenting seminar. And Heidi, it's so great to hear someone's been giving for 20 years in Club New Life. Let me send you the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. And I think beyond that, I want to send you something else. Let me send you Understanding and Loving Your Bonus Child, because that grandchild is your bonus child. Many of the things that are in the blended family apply to the grandparents here. I'll send that to you also. And anything else you want, you call me and I'll send that too as a reward for 20 years. Larry's shaking his head. Larry's in the studio. Larry, how does that make you feel that somebody 20 years?
It's amazing. I love it.
She went on a trip she can't remember. We went to some island, and she's been with us ever since. I love that.
It's the best. Thank you so much, Heidi.
Talk to us, Larry.
Okay. We've got the Restore Workshop coming up next week, and I know that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of women listening right now that need to go to this workshop. And there's hesitation, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's don't know what to do, deer in the headlights. And I wish I could gather them all in a room and have you more than anybody, Steve, speak to them and say, look, you got to do this. You just need to do this. And Jacqui has a testimony here, and I want to challenge, if you're a woman that needs to go, just ask yourself, why am I not doing it after hearing these testimonies we do?
Before coming to this weekend, there was chaos in my home. There was anger and resentment with a little bitterness and hurt sprinkled in for good measure. I was wounded, afraid, and felt alone in the battle. I felt as if I was a martyr, a casualty of my marriage. This weekend has been difficult but good. Our small group time was very helpful. Just processing things out loud, hearing myself speak it to others took a bit of fear away. Having a plan empowers me. I'm leaving the workshop with hope and strength and the ability to walk into my home with my 4 beautiful children and take control of my life. I have the authority to establish boundaries so that I can feel safe. To any woman who has been betrayed, I would say that exposing your wounds is painful, but working through the pain brings healing. Go to this workshop. Do it for you, because you deserve to be whole again.
Ladies, wouldn't you like to have that fear be lessened, taken away? Wouldn't you like to feel like you could be whole again? Wouldn't you like to just experience people that are experiencing what you experienced? This is what we do in these workshops. So I'm just kind of, I don't want to say begging, but I'm asking you pretty strongly. Think about it. Call us at 800 New Life and sign up.
Absolutely. Hope you'll do that. Yesterday, I think it was, I got so desperate, I said, I'll pay $100 of the first 10 people that respond asking for the $100. Then Larry said, we've got scholarship. We can go beyond that, making my $100 meaningless. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shift it to I'll pay for 2 women to come. All together, okay? So we'll work that out with the IRS and everybody else that's involved here. But the main thing is come. This is where hope is. Also, support us. Give to this ministry so that lives can be transformed. When you give, you're planting a seed for flowers that you'll never see, and fruit you'll never eat, and leaves you'll never be shaded by. But that produces a return of fulfillment and joy because you have planted the seed of transformation in the life of another person.
So, Steve,
please help us. Yes, Larry.
You're going to pay for 2 women to come, and would that be the first 2 callers, or do you want us to get the 2 neediest people? How do you want to do this?
Let's do first 2 callers,
all right.
And unless they
gotcha,
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. We love you. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We want to help you. Call us, please.
I'm about 100 pounds overweight. I'm 30 years old, and I'm just really discouraged. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel again.
Does this sound like your story? It doesn't have to. The weight we carry on the outside is often a result of the burdens we carry on the inside. If you want to reduce your inner burden, New Life's Lose It for Life online workshop can help. This online workshop features a 1-day Zoom session presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 18th. Plus breakout sessions led by a credentialed New Life Network counselor. Fitness expert Michelle Spadafora will lead exercise sessions, plus you'll receive exercise gear to allow you to start a home fitness routine you'll actually enjoy. If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy lifestyle, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a new life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. So glad that you're with us. Hang on. We've got another hour and 15 minutes. You can join us 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. And how about we go to a great parenting question? I think Connie has one, is what they tell me. So Connie, Charleston, West Virginia. How could we help?
Excuse me. I have a grandson that has Asperger's.
Yes.
Excuse me. And he's in. There's a broken home. There's two homes.
Yeah.
And he has been no discipline in one of the homes. The other home tries to, and it gets undone. But he's angry. He's 15 years old, and he's angry. And he's been saved. He knows the Lord, but he's just, I don't know how to describe it. I just want to know how I can help him. We got him in church, and like I said, he's been saved. He was baptized, and he has all the right answers, but he's so difficult. And every time I try to halfway, I'm not trying to really discipline him, but I'm trying to show him that he needs to listen to his mother, and he gets so angry, and he's so angry at her all the time. There's just no peace in their home, and I just don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, 15 years old. How do you know he has Asperger's?
Well, the doctors say he does.
Okay.
I mean, he's high functioning, very high. He's brilliant, but he will not do his schoolwork. He won't do no responsibility whatsoever, none.
So he was tested by a psychologist or psychiatrist. Who did that?
I don't know. They went through their doctor. I really can't answer that. I don't know.
Okay. Just one thing I want to mention to you, that he has a gift, and if he is able to get through the teen years and then start to develop things in spite of Asperger's, but because of Asperger's, I have some friends that have literally changed the world, and they have Asperger's. Mm-hmm. It is not it's not something to be ashamed of. It's actually something to be grateful for, because your brain functions far beyond the rest of us. Usually that's the case. So, Jacqui Mack, you are...
Oh, yeah.
What would you say is the... Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I love that, Steve. I think of it as a superpower. Neurodivergence is just that the brain is just working in different ways. Sometimes people who are on the spectrum or neurodivergent in the various ways are frustrated because people who are neurotypical are expecting things from them that their brain does not do. And so while he knows Jesus and he goes to church and he's been saved, it may be possible that no one is relating to him as him. He's being related to as the kid with Asperger's who needs to behave and do what he's told to do the way he's told to do it. And he needs somebody who can be in relationship with him and just allow him to be him and get to know what his strengths and weaknesses are. I work with people on the spectrum. It's a population that I really enjoy working with. And what I'm learning is that a lot of adults on the spectrum have been told most of their life that they're incapable. And they haven't been allowed to do things in the way that they need to do it, so then they are incapable because they don't fit into the standard box. He needs some room to do what he does the way he does it, and some space to explore what his great gifts are, because typically there's an extreme talent in some area, and so we nurture that, and then the other areas that are difficult, we get him the support that he needs. So rather than trying to get him to be different, maybe we can approach him differently.
Jim, you have a comment?
Yeah, I want to add to Jackie. I love what you just said, Jackie. We have to approach him differently. I'll tell people, I'll go through a parenting seminar, and then they'll say, but my child has Asperger's. And I go, well, some of this stuff doesn't work. Because it's basic things. Mm-hmm. So, Connie, I love your love for your grandson. And at 15, he sounds like he's a kid with Asperger's. I mean, he's really talented. He's really smart. But he is going to learn differently, and he's going to act differently. So what I always suggest to parents and grandparents is understand what he's going through, and you do that by actually going to a counselor who specializes in that, or by reading books. And so this is the time for you to become, quote unquote, I'm putting quote marks around this, an expert in this, so that you'll learn how to deal with him. My wife spent her whole career working with kids with Asperger's, kids on the spectrum, and these are beautiful, wonderful kids, but they're going to drive you crazy too if you try to parent them or grandparent them in the same manner that you would a kid who doesn't have Asperger's. So that's the point.
And let me just say this: words matter. Mm-hmm. I would never refer to Asperger's as a problem again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not something that's wrong with him. It's something that he has that he gets to decide what he's going to do with it. But we have a lot to do with that decision. I would recommend the mother and you both read some Nurtured Heart material. You just Google Nurtured Heart, go to Amazon, because what you need to be doing is noticing everything that he does that's positive and wonderful, not giving energy to the crummy stuff. And I wouldn't be talking about discipline, I'd be talking about structure. Mm-hmm. Listen, you did this, so you're not safe on your own to be there, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some structure, and we're going to keep you safe. So no, you can't go to that meeting next week. I'm going to keep you home, and we're going to learn that structure. So there you're helping him build a life versus get him to believe he has a crummy life ahead. Yes. I have attention deficit disorder, or as I have properly named it, ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactive procrastinating disorder. and it is something I wouldn't trade for the world. It is a gift, and other people are treating it like it's a problem. Well, my impact on their behavior really could be a problem, but that's my job. Their job is to accept me in that way, accommodate me, but don't let me go too far. And that's what it is here. Nurturing him, appreciating him, changing the dynamics and the way that he's being treated and communicating, such a gift. And let me send you a copy. Well, I don't know what I'm going to send you, but I can't think of the right resource, but I'll get it to you.
I think
and it
even
will
How
be,
We Love would be helpful. How We Love Our Kids would be
How
helpful
We Love
here.
Our Kids. Thank you for that. Bailed me out.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, we're out of time, but hold on, and we'll talk to you after the program. The next program starts in 8 minutes. If you're on the line, hold on, I'll get to you. But if you want to join us, it's 1-800-229-3000. There are some things I'm just going to say as we're walking out the studio door here, and that is that Intimacy in Marriage is this weekend. Call and register. Maybe somebody drops out, you can get in. Next weekend is the one we're talking about. It's the healing that a lot of women don't want to have or don't think they need, but it's Restore. It's in Orange County. Every Man's Battle, March the 3rd in Dallas, and then our Lose It for Life. Now, you hear somebody on our program here, we have a spot that has a very heavy woman speaking. We need to take that off, because what you need to know is for every one of those, when they come to Lose It for Life, there are 3 who don't weigh that anymore. And some people don't come, their weight looks normal, but they're working on the thing, the problem that's leading to this obsession and compulsion with food. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to sign up, 1-800-NEW-LIFE to be part of transformation with a generous gift. We love you. We thank you. Thank you, Jim, Jackie. Thanks to all of you who listen, watch, and pray and support us. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.